Hello everyone, welcome to the Fighting Conversation. I'm proudly sponsored by Trap Team Clothing, and today I'm with Anthony Taylor once again. How's life been treating you since the fight? With
Oh man, life's been good, bro. Just training, staying ready to go, focus, and being healthy.
that's my next question. Have you still been in training, or have you just took time off to relax and reflect?
Uh, I took 3 months off just to let my body heal, let my mind heal, my head heal, overall just heal mentally, emotionally, physically. But I'm already in camp training. Don't have a specific date yet, but I've been training.
What have you learned from the fight with Darren Till? Have you learned anything?
Uh, you learned a couple of good things. You wish you could have been a little bit more aggressive. You wish you could have been first when it came to exchanges. But when it comes to learning from that, I've learned a lot because having to go up, you know, two weight classes to fight at heavyweight, which I'm a light heavyweight, having to fight at one heavyweight, at one, which is heavyweight, it's a big disadvantage because you're talking about a guy who walks around 220,
Mhm.
who's probably on fight night 230. But at the end of the day, Darren Till was the better man that night. I can't complain. I came, I showed up, I did my thing. He beat me fair and square. I'm not going to dwell off that loss. The best I can do is get better, learn from that loss, and
Yeah.
prove what I could have done in that defeat and fix that in camp.
Would you rematch Darren if it was more on your terms, more around your weight?
Yeah, absolutely. I initially wanted 180 or 185 to meet in the middle. He wanted heavyweight. It was on his terms. The title wasn't on the line. But look, it is what it is. I take my losses on the chin like a man.
Yeah, 100%. When can we expect your return?
Now, who knows? Who knows? With a lot of this stuff going on with Misfits, I don't know. But what I can say to the fans is just be ready when I do return.
Would you fight Ty for his belt, for the Pro Misfits belt?
I mean, look, I'm in the influencers crossover boxing scene. He's in the pro scene.
Mhm.
You never know. I've had thoughts about crossing over to the pro scene, but right now I'm just going to focus on one fight at a time. I'm not saying I'm going to jump in and fight Ty Mitchell. There's other things that I want to do. There's other get back fights I want. There's Salt Poppy, he won his rematch. You got people like Gabe Silva who wants his rematch. You got Ashley Raxu who wants his rematch. You got the potential of me versus Slim. There's so much possibility. There's me versus Chris Avila, who I want and there's also me wanting to get my get back with Idris Virgo. So there's so many possibilities that I need to finish first in my crossover scene before I say, hey guys, I'm vacating my title. I'm going over to the pro scene because there's still unfinished business where I'm at. There's a lot of people still looking after my head. You still have Amadeus Ferrari, Tristan Ham, those guys who want my place in line, they want that shot. So I need to just handle business first before I go to the pro scene.
So you mentioned getting your get back with Idris. I got word that he got offered to fight you, but he turned it down. What do you make of that? If it
Oh wow. I didn't know. I honestly didn't know about that. Wow, that's odd and weird from somebody who's just lost his title and got offered another fight to fight me. That's odd. I wasn't aware that they offered Idris a fight to fight me. Oh, I would have been down, absolutely. But that's Idris' career. That's whatever he wants to do. I'm just laughing because I'm just shocked that it's like, bro, really? Okay. um, wow, that's fucking crazy. Wow. Okay. I mean, look, Idris is going to do what Idris do. Um, what he eats don't make me shit. If you don't want to fight, then that's fine. I'll move forward to the next challenger. I wish him the best and whatever he has going on with his life. Nothing but the best for Idris. But look, I'm moving on to bigger and better things. Yeah, I want that rematch with Tommy Fury. Yeah, I want that rematch with Christopher. Yeah, I want that rematch with Darren Till. I'm a vengeful person. I want to improve. I want to become better than I was previously from my last bout.
What happens in the rematch with you and Idris? Because last he beat you, unfortunately.
It's hard to say. I know I'll stop him. I would. It depends how we doing things. The timing, the date. Where personally, if I was to choose a fight, I will have him come to America, so there's no excuses. But that shit settled with Idris. He's gonna do his own thing. He's already turned the fight down since you told me he turned down my fight. Idris, wish you the best, brother. You're no longer in my radar, on my radar, or in my chapter anymore.
Who is your top five Misfits fighters right now, bar yourself?
Besides myself, I'm going to go. Uh, Number one, I got to give it up to uh, my boy Cray Cray, just because he's my little homie, he my teammate.
To make it easier, you can do it in no particular order, just to make it easy.
Okay, okay, yeah, Cray Cray, my boy Jason Moore, Salt Poppy, Fox G, and I probably go with Amir Anderson. They're my boys.
Okay, that's
They're
interesting.
my boys. They're my boys.
I'm actually a fan of all them. You can't fault with any of them.
Nah, nah, nah.
Well, Chase,
Chase the heavyweight. Amir is dominating his thing. I don't want no parts of what Amir got going on. You heard it first. I'm staying in my lane where I'm comfortable at, my brother. Cray Cray doing his thing. He's dominating his scene. Salt Poppy, that's some that's something where we're gonna have to cross paths again. But if we do, I want Salt Poppy to be the world champion so I can fight him. It'll be champ versus champ, first time ever on Misfits. It'll be a big fight. But those are my favorite fighters in Misfits. There was Dean at one point, but fuck his ass. He's just an asshole. So he got knocked off the ladder. Uh,
did you make that opinion about Dean because of the situation with him and Crickery?
nah, Dean doing his thing. I don't worry about what Dean is doing. I'm focused on me, my team, and what we got going on. Whatever him and his team got going on, I let them do them. They don't come in my circle. They don't bother me. They don't come in within my bubble. They don't say nothing to me. So I respect it. I give their piece. They give me my piece. Simple as that.
Would you do a tag team fight if you could pick your opponent and your partner? Well, your opponent's and partner, sorry.
Yeah, I think I actually would. I would. I personally would do something like this, which would be a big pay-per-view sale. Me and Salt Poppy versus Gib and Slim. Since even though Salt and Slim fought, I think it's time for me and Slim to fight, or me or Gibb to fight, or Salt or Gibb to fight. And I think those us four would be a great pay-per-view headline for the future.
100%. So the last interview we filmed, you seemed very keen to fight Slim. Are you still
Mm.
fighting him now?
I want to say I'm keen anymore because I don't really feel like Slim wants this fight. He doesn't feel like there's any value, but there's so much value in this. We can do this in America and be a main event sometime in near the future. But I would love to fight Slim. He's coming off a loss. I'm coming off a loss. I'm willing to give him a title shot. But
Okay.
look, there's other people who want Slim first, and that's Salt Poppy. I feel like Salt Poppy's entitled to getting his rematch, as he should. He's been winning. He's beaten David. He's beaten Ferrari. He's beaten Kenny. That's three fights in a row,
Yeah.
three finishes. So I think Salt definitely deserves his rematch with Slim.
Who do you want next? Actually, before you answer that question, what do you think happens in the rematch with Slim and Salt?
Salt destroys Slim. Probably second round.
Okay.
Slim Slim won't be able to have the Salt anymore.
Who do you want next? Anyone specific?
Mm, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say because, like I said, you got Salt Poppy rematch would be good. You got Slim, you got Gibb, you got Kristen Ham, Ashley Rax. You got so much. There's people like Chris Avila, Anthony Pettis, Benson Henderson, Mike Perry, Jorge Mo. Just so many varieties in my weight class because I fight at like heavyweight. And a lot of these guys teeter around 175, 185, or either 180. So there's so many possibilities at my weight class, which I'm so fortunate to be at that weight class. So it varies. I think if I was to fight in Miami, a Mike Perry card, me versus Mike Perry seems more appealing. If I was to fight in New York, me and Slim seems to me more appealing. If I was to fight in the UK, a Gibb or a Salt Poppy seems more appealing. If I was to fight in Brazil, me or Gabe Silver, Anderson Silva seems more appealing. So it depends where I'm fighting, the location of where the show or the bout's going to be.
Do you think we'll ever see you, Slim, and KSI have that unmatched fight? I think it was called unmatched.
You know what? I actually think it might happen eventually. And I don't want the fans getting riled up saying, oh my gosh, it's a leak, because I know what IFN be doing. But I actually think this would be a fun matchup. Me and Slim versus KSI.
Yeah,
I think that can still potentially happen in the near future. It's a safe match. You ain't got to worry about him going against big guys like, you know,
Thomas.
Darren Till and stuff. So me and Slim versus KSI, that can happen. That can happen.
Of course, it was meant to happen on the Dublin card, but a bunch of stuff got switched around. But you still came through that.
Yeah,
I-
man. Look, I'm here to help. I'm here to help, have fun, and that's the goal.
What's your opinion on KSI not fighting?
Mm, I mean, it's unfortunate that he had to succumb to an injury. It happens. It's a sport of boxing. Uh, it just happens. You can't really put the fault or the blame on him or his coaches because it's not like we have, superpowers to be like, hey, KSI, hold off. You're going to get hurt in 3 days. No. So it's unfortunate that it happened. We don't have no control of what's going to happen in the future or now or tomorrow or later. We don't. So the best thing I can, really comment on about that is like, look, get better, build yourself back up. You don't have to fight the top guys. Get a couple warm up fights. It's been almost 2 years since you fought. Get a couple warm up fights. Build yourself to where you need to fight that top contender dude. Take your time. Get that Rooney fight. Get a couple more fights off before you're able to say, "Hey, I want Darren Till or a Jake Paul or a Julio Cesar Chavez." Get a couple of fights. I say about 3 return fights before he says, "I want to fight a big name guy."
Would you do a return fight with KSI?
Yeah, I mean anybody would because the money is right there.
I'd push
But
at one point for used to just have a 1v1.
I would love it. But like his team said, they're only looking for big stars. How do we build big stars? We got to keep getting them fights. We got to have them build themselves. We got to have them keep winning. So it's going to be hard to do that if you're just having one guy main event the last 3 or 4 or 6 pay-per-views, such as Darren Till. And I'm not mad at that, but it's going to be hard to build stars like that.
Yeah, 100%. Did you watch the Jake Paul v Chavez Jr. fight?
To be honest, I saw bits of the last fight. Uh, it was hard.
What do you
I
make?
I mean, we see that we were able to see the work ethic of Julio Cesar Chavez. He has no work ethic. He looks like the same old fighter that he was when he fought Anderson Silva. There's no hunger, there's no drive. But also let's give him his credit. He did go 10 rounds and he fought at a higher weight class at 190,
Yeah,
where he's usually fighting at 160s, 170s. So I can kind of understand where the sluggish and the fatigue can kick in around that point. You're talking about a guy whose whole career is at 168, 175, and you're having him to come up 20 pounds, 20 to 30 pounds to fight. So I can't really say I wasn't impressed, but it was a good show.
Yeah,
Overall, people got paid. People got to see Jake fight. The fans got to see Jake fight. The kids got to see Jake fight. So that's one of the things I was impressed that it was a good show.
100%. Last question before we wrap this up is, do you have a message for what the fans can expect for you to return?
Hey, to all my fans out there, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your support. Just know I'm coming back bigger, better than ever.
All right. Thank you for your time, Anthony. That was my last question.
I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you very much. Hope you enjoyed that interview that I just filmed. So now I'm going to talk about my sponsor, Trap Time. So once you order Trap Time, you should get one of these cards, and it's got a QR code on the back. You can order whatever you want. You can order hats, t-shirts, tracksuits, whatever. They're a really good clothing bar, really, really good clothing brand. They got comfy t-shirts, comfy hats, like what I just said. But yeah, I just want to thank them again for sponsoring me.